Hello, mystery lovers, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're venturing into the shadows, exploring some of the most chilling true crime cases that defy easy answers. These aren't just stories of crimes committed. They're stories that leave us with a profound sense of unease, where the final chapter remains hauntingly unwritten or ends on a note that's deeply unsettling. These are the cases that stick with you long after you've heard them. Our first case takes us to Springfield, Missouri, on a warm June night in 1992. After a night of high school graduation parties, three women, Cheryl Levitt, her daughter Susie Streeter, and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall, vanished from Cheryl's home. The scene they left behind was eerie. The front door was unlocked, the porch light was shattered, and their purses, keys, and cars were all still at the house. The television was on, and Cheryl's bed looked as if someone had been sleeping in it. There were no signs of a struggle, nothing to suggest a violent entry. It was as if they had simply evaporated. The police were baffled. What happened to the Springfield Three? Theories range from a planned disappearance to a targeted abduction, but despite thousands of tips over the decades, their fate remains one of America's most perplexing mysteries. The unsettling part isn't just the not knowing, it's the quiet, ordinary setting of their disappearance. One moment, they were home. The next, they were gone forever. Next, we journey to the Australian outback, to a case that has become a modern legend, the disappearance of Peter Falconio in 2001. Peter and his girlfriend, Joanne Lees, were driving along a remote stretch of highway at night when another vehicle flagged them down. The driver claimed their van had an issue with its exhaust. Peter went to the back of the van with the man, and Joanne heard a sound she described as a gunshot. The man then appeared at a window, threatened her, and bound her hands. In a terrifying ordeal, she managed to escape from his truck and hid in the bush for hours until she could flag down a passing truck driver. Peter Falconio was never seen again. A man named Bradley Murdoch was eventually convicted of his murder, largely based on Joanne's testimony and a tiny spot of his DNA found on her shirt. But here's the unsettling part. Peter's body has never been found, despite extensive searches and Murdoch's conviction. The vast Australian wilderness holds its secrets tight. For Peter's family, there is no final resting place, no definitive closure. The conviction brought legal justice, but the ending feels incomplete, leaving a void where a final, somber truth should be. Now, let us turn to a case that feels like it was ripped from a horror movie script. The mysterious death of Eliza Lamb. In 2013, the 22-year-old student was staying at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, a place with a notoriously dark history. She was reported missing, and weeks later, guests began complaining about low water pressure and an unusual taste. Maintenance workers checked the water tanks on the hotel roof and made a horrifying discovery. Elisa's body was inside one of the sealed tanks. An autopsy found no evidence of trauma and ruled her death an accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder listed as a significant factor. But this is where the story gets truly strange. The police released the last known footage of Elisa, a security video from the hotel elevator. In it, she acts bizarrely, pressing all the buttons, hiding in the corner as if from an unseen pursuer, and making strange gestures with her hands. The elevator doors themselves seemed to malfunction, refusing to close. How did she get onto the locked, alarmed roof? And how did she get inside a heavily-lit water tank and close the lid from the inside? The official explanation leaves so many questions unanswered, and that unsettling elevator footage has become an iconic, chilling piece of internet lore. A final, cryptic message from a life cut tragically short. From a locked room mystery to an open field, our next case is the baffling story of the Sodder children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, a fire tore through the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder escaped with 4 of their 9 children. Tragically, 5 of their children, Martha, Louie, Jenny, and Betty, were trapped upstairs. George frantically tried to rescue them, but his ladder was missing, and his coal trucks, which he hoped to use to climb to the window, mysteriously wouldn't start. By the time the fire department arrived, the house was a pile of ash. The assumption was that the children had perished in the blaze. But the unsettling twist is this. No human remains were ever found in the debris, absolutely. The Sodders came to believe their children weren't in the fire at all, but were abducted. They pointed to strange events, leading up to the fire, including a man trying to sell them insurance and another who warned their fuse boxers would cause a fire someday, for the rest of their lives. The Sodas maintained a billboard on Route 16 with the children's pictures, offering a reward for information. The case officially remains a fire, but for the family and many who've studied it, it's a story of a possible kidnapping, covered by arson, that was never solved, leaving a legacy of parental grief and endless, haunting questions. Finally, we look at a case that is both a murder mystery and a psychological puzzle. The Hinterkaifeck murders. In 1922, on a small, isolated farmstead in Bavaria, Germany, 6 people were brutally killed with a pickaxe. The victims were Andreas and Cecilia Gruber, their widowed daughter Victoria, her 2 children, Cecilia and Joseph, and the family's new maid, Maria Baumgartner. The details are what make this case so profoundly creepy. Days before the murders, Andreas had told neighbors about finding mysterious footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the farm, but none leading away. He also heard footsteps in the attic and found a strange newspaper. The family's house keys went missing. Chillingly, it appears the killer, or killers, may have been living in the house with the family for days before the attack. The maid, Maria, had only arrived hours before she was killed. After the murders, the perpetrator remained on the farm for several days. Neighbors noticed smoke from the chimney, and the cattle had been fed. Nothing of value was stolen. Over 100 suspects were interviewed over the years, but no one was ever charged. The sheer brutality, the premeditated lurking, and the absolute lack of a clear motive make Hinterkaifeck one of history's most unnerving and inscrutable crimes. The killer quite literally vanished back into the forest, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable horror and a mystery that endures a century later. These cases remind us that sometimes the world is a place where logic fails, and a neat, tidy conclusion is not always possible. The unsettling endings are what make them so memorable, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable reality that some mysteries may never be solved. They linger in our collective consciousness, a testament to lives lost and questions left hanging in the air. What do you think happened in these cases? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you found this journey into the unknown as compelling as I did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.